They never told you this on purpose. Not because it was too complicated. Not because you were too young. But because if you understood how money actually works early, you'd ask very uncomfortable questions later. Think about it. 12 years of school. Thousands of hours. You learned algebra you never use. History dates you forgot. Rules you memorized just to pass tests. But no one sat you down and explained how debt really works. No one showed you how interest compounds against you. No one explained why two people earning the same salary can end up living completely different lives. That wasn't an accident. You were told to work hard, to get a good job, to save a little, and somehow, everything else was supposed to work itself out. Meanwhile, the moment you turned 18, banks were ready. Credit cards, loans, financing, fine print. You were considered responsible enough to sign contracts that could shape the next 40 years of your life, but apparently not responsible enough to be taught what those contracts actually do. If you've ever felt like money stress just quietly followed you into adulthood, this is why. And here's the part that really matters. Most people don't fail financially because they make one massive mistake. They fail because of tiny decisions repeated over decades. Decisions they didn't even know were decisions. Now let me tell you why you should keep listening. I've seen how the system works from the inside. I've watched how wealth is built quietly, boringly, consistently. And I've watched how it's drained just as quietly through ignorance, not stupidity. The gap between people who feel calm about money and people who feel trapped isn't talent. It's not intelligence. It's not even income. It's knowledge and timing. If you don't understand how money moves, time becomes your enemy. If you do, time becomes your biggest advantage. Here's what no one tells you early enough. A few small misunderstandings in your 20s don't feel dangerous. In your 30s, they feel annoying. In your 40s, they feel heavy. And in your 50s, they feel irreversible. The cost of not knowing isn't dramatic at first. It's subtle. It's the extra years you have to work, the stress you normalize, the choices you don't feel allowed to make. It's the job you can't leave, the risk you can't take, the constant feeling that you're one bad month away from trouble. And the worst part, most people blame themselves. They think they're bad with money, undisciplined, behind. But you were never given the full picture. This isn't about getting rich. It's about not being trapped. In the next hour, I'm going to walk you through the financial literacy that quietly disappeared from schools. Not theory. Not hype. Not shortcuts. A framework. A way to think. A system that actually fits real life. You won't need to be good at math. You won't need to already have money. And you won't need to change who you are. But you will start seeing your past decisions differently, your current situation differently, and your future as something you can actually influence. If you stay until the end, you'll have a clear roadmap. Not motivation. Not inspiration. Clarity. The kind that makes things click. The kind that replaces anxiety with control. Most people never get this explanation all in one place. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Stay with me. I want to start by telling you exactly why you should listen to what I'm about to share, because I know the internet is full of financial advice, hot takes, and people telling you what you should or shouldn't do with your money. And if you're anything like most people, you've probably felt overwhelmed by it at some point or quietly thought, this isn't for me, or I'll deal with this later when I'm earning more, or I'm just not a money person. I want to meet you exactly where you are before we go any further. I spent 9 years working in investment banking. I studied finance at university. I trained as a professional accountant. I worked inside the system where money is structured, moved, protected, and multiplied at scale. I sat in rooms where the decisions being made quietly affected markets, pensions, companies, and entire industries. I saw firsthand how the top 1% think about money, not just in terms of investments, but in terms of systems, priorities, and long-term planning.